T T T.
Good day, everybody, and welcome back to the next episode of Teen Talk Talks. Maybe that's what we're going to call it. My name's Nat Mann. I'm the creator of the Teen Talk program under Master Your Authentic Voice, and I hope you have an awesome day. Today, Laura Pena, who is a mentor, the creator of the She Is Universe, not foundation, but organization. She is a speaker, TED speaker. Feel so honored, is with me today because we met at a cafe in the DR.
We
And
did.
then, yeah, at Vagamundo, we spoke like briefly. And then we met up at the networking. And it was like we had found each other again.
I love it. I love our story
I
because
love it.
I I
Our
I I think
story.
I remember when I saw you and then I saw you again and I was like, you're meant to be in my life. I love this.
Yeah, well, it's what we were just saying, right? Things happen for a reason. And
Yep.
it's a hard lesson to absorb or digest because it doesn't always make sense to, the naked eye that why is this happening this way? But really, the way we sort of came together is that we both have teens or young people in our lives. Um, she is the universe. How did that aha moment happen?
Yeah. So she's the universe is a non-profit right now, and but it started as a passion project. I felt like there was more that I wanted to do with my life. I felt like I wanted to contribute to life. I was like, if I leave this earth tomorrow, what am I leaving behind?
Mm,
And I started to think about the things that actually, like a lot of people think about their purpose in what they love and what they're passionate about. And I thought it a little differently. I wanted to know what breaks my heart. Like, what is the
mm.
thing that I feel is so wrong in the world that I need that someone needs to fix it, right? And they say like, oh, if you want something to change, you have to change it.
Be the
And so
change, yeah.
be the change. And the thing that really breaks my heart is to see girls and women not seeing their potential,
Oh,
not like
yes.
not seeing like how incredible they are. And I know this because I'm one of those, right? Like as a teenager, I couldn't see my own um beauty, my own amazingness, like how I couldn't see that I was smart. I couldn't see, there were so many things that I thought were wrong with me. I felt very alone. And I felt like I had an awakening of some sort, um, maybe in my 30s, that I wonder, wow, what would happen if this happened when I was younger? Like if I had someone to guide me, to support me in a group of people and community, right? Like I found community. And basically, She's the Universe started as a filmmaking project. I went around the world looking for 111 girls to talk to them about their dreams and to understand how can we help you get to where you want to be in life, all of your dreams. How can we support you? And in that, just this beautiful leadership program was born, and that's what we're doing now. And I feel like
Mm.
just finding that, like like healing my own heart, wanting to help someone else actually help heal my heart as well.
I love it. And Teen Talk showed up because you were doing this TED style event online. So we did a bit of coaching. I did a bit of coaching with the girls. And it was fascinating to watch these young women from all over the world uh, show up. And I mean, I received some beautiful messages after those coachings of, thank you, Miss Natalie. You don't know, you can't understand how much it meant to me. And you felt how it was heartfelt. Like they really meant it. Like they really appreciated what was being shared with them. So, and I think you've touched on a really important point that we are not taught these things, or at least I think in my generation, we weren't necessarily taught how to value yourself and I don't think it's anybody's fault. I just think that's the way it was. This morning I did a quick video and I called it a humble brag. because nobody else can do for me. So somebody has to do it.
We have
And
to do it.
I have a student who came up to me on Saturday at a wedding and was so proud to tell me that she did a 10-minute speech without any preparation. She didn't use filler words, and everybody cried. And she goes, Miss Natalie, I couldn't have done it without you. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
I was speechless.
Right, and the confidence that it gives you when you feel like you're taking ownership of your voice and your message, right? Which I think
Yeah.
that is what why we'd love to bring you on, because so this program that we did is called Girls to Girls, and the
Hmm.
girls developed this program. And last year, what we did is we opened the space for them to share something that they care deeply about. But it was hard because they didn't have the tools of how they share
Mm,
their voices, you know. So
yes.
this year we're like, okay, what if it, you know, have it's going to require a lot more work from us, but we need to give them the tools, right? And this is where you came into
100%,
the picture.
100%.
And they were so proud. Like, let me tell you, Natalie, that this week we had an interview with one of the girls that was part of this, because we're hiring for a new intern. And she was almost crying when she said that the most impactful part of this whole program, that has like 3 parts and goes through the summer, was the speaking. She said like the
Mm,
using my voice was everything. And I can see the difference in this girl, right? I can see the difference from when they started the program to the end. And I think that the speaking part is such key part of it. And
yeah,
there's something that wakes up in you when you feel like you can express yourself, and
yeah,
it's not, it might not be perfect, you know, because it's a work in progress. It's very scary because it's one of the biggest fears that people have, like
number
speaking in
one,
front of people.
that and death.
uh, so imagine when you actually not conquer the fear, but like act it, even when you're afraid. Because it's the thing, right? We need, like, we think that the people who stand, like I've done a TED talk, right? Like I stand in front of people. I've done many talks now, and and it's, yes, it is scary, but it is so powerful after you do it.
So
And
powerful. And for me, there's adrenaline. Like
mm,
once I harnessed it and I realized that I enjoyed doing it, there was like it's like a drug almost.
mm,
And
yeah.
I don't compare it to drugs. Let's get that straight.
Yep.
However, I think what I like to compare it to is with students is what is the thing that makes you the most happy? And like you just feel like you're on cloud nine, and students will say, oh, it's riding my horse. It's here obviously in the DR, the water sports, the surfing. I said that same adrenaline, that same passion is what you need to infuse into when you share something. So
Mm,
making it relatable is probably one of my biggest key things with students because they're at a loss of what they can talk about or what they should talk about. And it's always about if you had to change the world, right? Like if you had to be the
mm,
change, what would you change or what message would you give them? And it's a hard exercise because it's a bloated question. Like, I
mm-hmm,
don't know.
mm-hmm,
And I think the day that I realized Teen Talk was my passion or the thing that got me high, everything changed. My
mm.
whole path
Every,
changed.
yeah, everything
Everybody
fell into
started,
place.
literally, people started showing up. Things started happening that I had no control over. And I just sat back and said, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So 2024 is going to be different and I'm excited about it. Um, but I wonder sometimes why. Why do you think we not speak up? And doesn't
Mm,
apply just to girls, right? I mean, this applies
no,
to
everybody,
young boys as well, but men, women, all of us. Why is
all of
it? What
us.
is it that's stopping us?
Yeah, what I believe is that we, like food and air, we have a need,
Mm,
and that need is belonging. And when we speak, the idea that our brain gets is like, oh, what if people don't like me? And if people don't like me, oh, I'm gonna be left behind. I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna be with my tribe. Like, this is very, like, very from cave times, right?
Yeah.
uh, we still think that we're going to be abandoned and we're not going to be loved, and we our desire to belong is so big that sometimes we stop ourselves from doing the things that we want to do, from using our voice and from sharing what we really feel, because we feel like people are not going to agree with us.
Yeah.
And but the thing is that when we speak our truth, it's like we're giving permission for other people to also speak their truth. And what a beautiful gift that is, to get out of your own way and your own fears and give in such a way, whatever you have to say inside of you, only you can say it. I truly believe that like,
Oh,
you can hear the same thing from a million people, but there's something that you have to say because there's people that only can hear it from you and that will land
100%.
differently,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
So even though it's so scary because we think that we're going to be abandoned and we're not going to be loved anymore, that's very deep, right? Like, we're gonna, the belonging part, but it's such a beautiful gift,
Yeah.
for
And I
everybody
and I
around
think
us.
I think we talked about this when we met last week, but 2024, I'm gonna use a bad word now. I told my daughter that this year we only have room for fuck yes energy.
I love that.
And we had a situation where, she wasn't in that energy when she said yeah. She didn't say yes. She's like, sure, I'll do it. I'm like, if you don't want to do it, it's fine. Own that you don't want to do it. And I'm okay with that. But if you want to do it from your heart, do it. And she's like, okay, mommy, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, she has to know now, and she has to know right now at 10 that it's okay to say yes and it's okay to say no. And for so many years, we are taught to people please, or you got to do it because, no, you don't have to do it because you do it because you want to. Now, if you don't want to do it, as is it Sarah Knight who wrote The Magic of Not Giving a Fuck? As she says, don't be an asshole about it. Like, if you can't do the thing or you don't want to do the thing, give them enough notice to say that you can't do it. But if you commit to
Mhm.
it, then you commit and you have to move on, right?
Go for it.
And it's a really hard lesson to learn. Listen, I'm in my 50s and I'm embracing it more and more as I get older, but it's not always that obvious. So if we can teach them to embrace what they really want, what they really don't want, and speak up, I think we're gonna have a lot of young people that will be ahead of the game.
I agree. I agree. And I, like, I'm in my 40s, right? And I'm reinventing myself at this stage of life. Like, I've really successful career as a creative in the
Yeah.
animation world and as a filmmaker. And but now I feel like life is calling me to something else, right? Like, I
Mm,
want to speak more. I want to continue to share, this message and of empowerment. And also, I want to write books, I want to make more films, but also I'm called to mentor more girls, right? Like, this
yeah.
is something that I have been doing for years now, and I'm like, wow, what if I actually focus more my career on that?
Yeah.
And so I was talking to a friend this week, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna offer this as a service, because I'm already doing it for She's the Universe. And I'm like, I think that the world deserves to have more of this. Like, we need it. The levels of anxiety that are in our teenage
Sign me up.
kids now, like, it's like
Sign me up. Yeah.
it's huge. So I'm excited about this. It's so I cannot, like, when you're saying that things align, I can feel already how the world is opening, because I'm like, I want to work with girls. That is it.
You
Like,
know,
it's, yeah.
yeah, I wish all girls or all young people, we're talking about girls now, but I remember one year my daughter she was probably maybe in kindergarten, so 5 or 6, 5. She came home from school one day. She stood on a chair at the dining room chair and she put her fist up in the air and she said, I am the best soccer player ever. And I thought, if we could all just have that, like
Mm-hmm.
all the time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So there's a fascinating thing that happens, right? Like you how old is your daughter now?
She's 10.
Exactly. She's at the great age where everything's possible, where
Mm,
she believes in herself because she has you, right? Like not all kids, but a lot of us, if we have the right support at this age, you think you can conquer the world.
yeah.
And when I started this process, I found this study that it's called the Confidence Code for Girls, and it
Mm-hmm.
talks about how at the age from like 9 to about 13, 14, girls lose their confidence like it's around like 30% more than boys. And
Yeah.
this is a study done in the US, but I'm sure that this is like the same all around.
Yeah.
And it has to do a lot with our perfectionism, you know,
Mm,
our idea that we have to be perfect and pretty and good. That also happens with boys. It's not only a girls thing, but it's just the numbers are higher for girls, right?
yeah.
So we start trying to, like, the fitting in is huge, and this is huge for for all teenagers, right? We want to belong, we want to fit in. So that spark that you're seeing in your daughter, it's, you have to, these things that, the speaking and doing things that can help them take ownership of their thoughts, their ideas, instead of getting sucked into the what other people think about them and
Yeah.
what other people tell them that they're supposed to be or do to be part of the tribe,
Yeah.
and be okay with being different. Like, fostering that in these years is huge, because
100%.
there's
Yeah.
something that shifts, that everything that the brain starts to shift. We start to become
Mm-hmm.
more self-aware of the things that we're not doing right, like we might realize that maybe we're not the best at this as we thought, and then people tell us this. And for us to stay in that truth that we are powerful beyond measure, it takes a tribe. It takes like a community of people
It does,
around you.
100%. So what are your top like two or three tips? If somebody's watching right now and they're wondering, how can I foster this in a young person? What
Mhm.
would you what would you
Yeah.
s- what would you share?
Yeah. So the the first thing comes from the girls themselves. And I know I talk to girls, but I think this is across the board, every human. Okay. So when I ask the girls, I talk to girls from every continent. And when I ask them, what do you need from all of us to get to where you want to be in life? Right. The answer across the board was support.
Mm,
That word, like support, apoyo, like in all languages, right? Like I went to the Amazon jungle, support. Dominican Republic, support. Iceland, support. Everywhere, right? Like Australia, support. Philippines, support. And at the beginning, I was like, wow, what does this mean? Like, are you not getting the support? Especially when I heard it from my niece and Marie, I was like, wait, like, why do you need this? Like, is that not something that you have at home? And also I started to question, because I asked girls from all socioeconomic backgrounds, and they will say the same thing, even when I felt like some of the girls who were, in the barrios, in the places where people had a lot of like needs, I thought that they were gonna say, I need a scholarship, I need money. None of that. No, support. So then I
okay.
started to ask, like, what does support mean? So this is what I'm gonna tell you. So support, this is what I will say. So support, but what that means is, one, being a cheerleader for what they're doing. you know they're
Mm,
going to have in their life enough people who are going to tell them that what they want to do is so stupid, or that what they're going to do doesn't really matter, or that thing, like, why do you want to do that? They need someone that is helping them create that voice that's in our head that tells us, no, yeah, this is good, do that, like what you're doing, trust that, like, to help them trust themselves. So that's
yeah.
one, that kind of support. The next one is community. So helping, build that community, which is, what we do at She's the Universe, is create community with girls from more than 50 countries. That changes everything in your life when you have people who have your back. And I will say the third thing is going to sound a little silly and cute, but I am all about the heart. So I think that we need love,
Mm. Of course we
and
do.
We need love, and love doesn't mean that everything is like unicorns and rainbows. Love
No.
means having listening to each other, listening to youth, and just really, really, really listening. Not just
Mm,
like pretending that you're listening, but actually no judgment, you
yeah.
know, just being like, okay, this is something that I learned from my mom. And I was like, how is it that your daughter tells you everything? She's like, I have a poker face. And I was like, what do you mean by that? She's like, well, she comes and tells me things and I don't react. Even if I'm very worried while she's telling me things, I just listen, like really listen, because sometimes they don't need advice. Sometimes they just need someone
No.
that they can trust in,
Yes.
that they
Yeah.
know that they're not going to be judged. And it's so hard. I know that it's very hard for parents and for kids to come to parents because they don't want to disappoint their parents. It's so, so hard to know that you don't want to hurt your parents. You know that your parents are going through a lot sometimes too. That they're busy. Uh, but I think that having that door open always to be like, doesn't matter what you're going through, I'm going to be here and I'm going to listen, like really listen.
I love it. I could talk to you for hours.
I know. Thank you for this. This is
Okay,
so great.
so if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, so people can find me at I am Laura Pena, and at or they can find She's the Universe Project on
Okay,
Instagram.
I'm gonna drop it all in the description anyway, so they'll be able to
Amazing.
reach out to you. So if anybody is interested in reaching out to Laura, please do so. It'll all be in the description. If you do not know about Teen Talk, oh my gosh, you need
You
to
need to
learn.
know.
So you can
You
go
need
to
to
triple
know.
W. You need to know teentalkwithnat.com. That's where you can get to know me and the programs and all the services that are offered. If you have a topic that you would love to discuss, please send me a DM. I'd love to know what you want us to talk about here on, I think I have it, Teen Talk Talks.
I love it. TTT.
I love TTT, yeah. But whatever you choose to do, I hope you have an incredible day and we'll see you soon in the next episode. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Mwah. Hi,
See you
Natalie.
soon. Bye.